I have a question for you. What is the most dangerous combination in politics? Inflation and elections. It's a nightmare for any politician. Here in India, the government is facing that deadly combination, inflation and elections. Inflation is at a 15-month high. Food prices are up by double digits, and multiple elections are around the corner. So how is the government responding? By controlling exports. Onion is the latest commodity. India has imposed a 40% export duty on onions. 40%. How does that help? The export duty makes Indian onion more expensive abroad, and more expensive equals less demand. So the idea is to discourage the export of onions, to retail more supply in the Indian market, and hopefully to stabilize prices. Speaking of which, onion prices have risen by 20% from July to August. Chances are they will rise further. The current rate is around 30 rupees per kilogram. Experts say it will double by September, maybe even reach 70 rupees per kilogram. The question is why? Unlike cereals, onion is not affected by the war in Ukraine. So why are prices rising? You can blame climate change and erratic weather for that. India has 3 onion seasons. The season from April to June dominates supply. Around 65% of India's output comes from that season, April to June. Now, this supply is supposed to last until September. By then, the next round of harvest begins. It's usually a smooth transition, but this year it was not so smooth. Onions harvested during the summer are rotting faster. The unseasonal rains have affected their shelf life. So come September, there could be a crunch, hence the export duty. On paper, the duty is supposed to last until the 31st of December this year, but a lot depends on how things play out. If the price rise continues, the government may consider bigger steps, like banning onion exports altogether. It was last done in 2020. But if the prices cool down, the duty could be removed. And traders will be hoping for that. Most of them are protesting the export duty. In fact, trade has been indefinitely halted at Asia's largest onion market, which is located in Nashik, in Maharashtra. The question is, how quickly can prices be cooled? Let's look at what happened with tomatoes. 2 weeks back, the price was 260 rupees per kilogram, and now it's under 100 rupees. So things are looking better. Not ideal, but definitely better. The government is also selling subsidized tomatoes from vans and public shops. Those cost just 40 rupees per kilo. The plan is to do the same with onions. Government shops and vans will be selling onion for 25 rupees per kg. The buffer stock is also being increased. It was 3 million tons earlier. Now it will be increased to 5 million tons. So fingers crossed the price will come down. But at what cost? India is the largest exporter of onions in the world. In the first half of 2023, trade was up 63%. Dozens of countries buy onions from us, like Bangladesh, Nepal, Malaysia, the UAE, and Sri Lanka. How will they respond to this move? And the onion move is not an isolated one. First, India banned the export of wheat, then non-basmati white rice. Now, higher export duty on onions, and reports say sugar could be next. There is talk of banning the export or setting quotas. Now, such sudden decisions will affect credibility. They will leave importers in a limbo. And that is one problem. The second problem is that of climate change. Let's face it, our weather is more erratic than ever. But are the farmers prepared for it? Has the government prepared them for it? Tomato prices were up because of weather, and now onion prices are up because of the same reason. We need to find solutions for this. When you have 1.4 billion people to feed, you can't afford volatility. You need an assured supply. Maybe onions will jolt the government to action. They're not as important in our diet as rice or potato, but onions are politically savvy. You hear inflation and you think about 2 things, fuel and onions. In fact, India's 1980 general election was called the onion election. Tells you how important they are. The current government also realizes this, which is why the export duty has been announced in the first place. But will it be enough to plug the supply issues? Guess we'll have to wait and watch.